Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. Today on Growing Your Business, I'm joined in the studio by Kelly Burris of Kelly Burris Designs. How are you doing?
Good. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. It's really great to have you in the studio.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what is Kelly Burris Designs.
Well, Kelly Burris Design is a real estate staging firm, and I specialize in occupied staging. So that's when the homeowner is living in the home when it goes on the market. And I work with agents and help them build their brand and elevate their listings and win more listings by visually merchandising a home so that it photographs beautifully, so that it shows well, and that attracts more buyers. And it just elevates the overall listing experience.
Right. When you approach a home, and that's the interesting part, is occupied, so people can still live there. You probably walk through and see how they, we all live a certain way, right? And so what you're looking to do, I assume, and you'll correct me, is present this is how anyone could live here to what's current out there in the world from a furniture, aesthetics, flow, and whatnot. So talk to me when you walk in. What do you do when you first walk into an occupied home?
Yeah, well, so in an occupied home, you said it, is the way that we live in our home is not the way we need to present it. And so the minute that it goes on the market, now it's entered a beauty contest, which is not really what they think of, but that's the reality today. And so your online photos have to look amazing and the home has to feel good when they walk in. So when I walk into a home, I'm looking at a couple of things, and it's all a collaboration, with the agent and the seller. When I'm doing a consultation, I like to have the agent there. So there's alignment about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. But we're looking at what needs to be edited. I always say occupied staging, it's really about strategic edits, or smart edits and strategic enhancements, because what needs to be removed. When people are buying a home, they're looking for space. They're either upsizing or they're downsizing. They're upsizing because they got a growing family and how are we going to fit everybody in, or they're downsizing and maybe they're empty nesters and they're trying to figure out how they're going to fit their furniture in. And so by the right placement of furniture, we help them do that. And also by focusing on what are the fixed assets of the home that they're buying. Is it that great view? Is it the fireplace? Beautiful wood floors? So how do we showcase what they're actually buying? I haven't done my job if what they walk in and they start noticing is the furniture and they zero in the photo on the furniture. That's just to enhance. It's really about the space. That's what I want to communicate in the photos.
So when I'm walking through my home, versus you, and that's the interesting thing, is when we're used to our own space, we're more than willing to overlook just about anything, right? What are the first things you see? What draws your eye that has to go?
Bad odors, number one.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not just visual.
Because that's the first thing that someone is going to be turned off by. So if there's an issue with that, which I've run into some, but really not that much as you would think. But so maybe I've just been lucky. But yeah, we got to get rid of that. If there's an odor, that has to be dealt with. But it's really just if there's too much furniture, and if there's too many knickknacks. If I was selling my home, I like stuff and I like to shop. If I was selling my home, I would have to stage it. And I usually say anything that's smaller than a grapefruit, it's got to go.
Really?
A lot of the collections, I don't use that word. I don't use the clutter word ever with a client. I tell them they need to pre-pack, they need to edit, because the words we use matter. And so when I'm working with clients, if it's an agent, I've got to protect that relationship with their client. Yeah. So I'm real careful about the words I use. But yeah, that's some of the first things. And right off the top, anything, say with I's, names, dates, so certificates, your children's pictures, anything like that, that's part of the depersonalizing. And we don't want a buyer to see your home and your wedding picture. We want them to see themselves living there.
Yeah, envision where theirs would go.
Plus, it's a safety issue. Yeah. Most people that are coming through a home are going to be fine, but you never know. So for people's security, you don't need them seeing that, oh, you were an accountant and you graduated when, and oh, and there's your kid and they go to what school? So that's
Yep.
the reason too.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Where does this stuff go?
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Oh, when
Where do
it's
you advise
removed?
that they put all of this stuff?
Oh gosh, a lot of them. So they've got to pack anyway, So I'll give you an example. In fact, I talked about this at the chamber meeting Friday. Let's say it's a master closet. That's a money closet. It's an important closet. So I tell them, pretend you're going on a trip and you're going to be gone for 90 days. And so you're only going to leave out the clothing that you're going to need for 90 days, about the time that the house may be on the market. Pack everything else, that you think you may need in a suitcase. It's usually going to be in your closet anyway. And then the rest, it goes into the garage, or you're going to start packing your boxes. Like the packing starts then. Yeah. If it's a kitchen, you've got to pack up all the serving. If it's in the spring, you're not going to need your Christmas china. Right. Pack it up, get it in the garage neatly. Yeah. And in some cases, they've got to donate it anyway. They're not going to take it with them. Or I do have vendors that have most people are familiar with a pod. I know of another one here in Plano, My Box, so they can, store it that way. There's a lot of options, but right. it's gotta go somewhere.
How do you stay on top of the trends, things that people want to see, and then also anticipate? Not everybody's trendy.
Well, so I just went to market. We're lucky that I have the Dallas Design Market right here. In the summer, when I go to a national staging convention, I can go to the Las Vegas market, which has all the latest home and accessories. And so I like to be aware of what the trends are. And let's say it's an occupied home, I might introduce that if I'm bringing in some enhancements, and usually I need to, or art or something. It may be a trending color. But not always do I want the latest in a particular home. So I'll give you an example. This may offend some people, but, the farmhouse style has had many iterations over the last few years. Thank you, Chip and Joanna, and it keeps evolving. It's always been around in some form or fashion, but it's losing a little bit of its steam. But there's a lot of people out there. They still have farmhouse So if I bring in whatever the latest is, it may not work. So it's got to be some bridge pieces that are going to still work with the home. What we're trying to do is just bring it forward. We just don't want something that has, a horrible timestamp where people are just going to think that the photo's like, oh no, that's an old house. I don't want it.
For the old houses, I imagine that clearly need paint. They clearly need, or how do you deal with, let's say, picture frames that used to be there aren't there? They're still
have a
shadows and all the things. How do you navigate through those pitfalls?
Well, I'm going to recommend paint, and paint's money in a can.
Yeah,
I'm a certified color consultant, and so I can recommend paint color. Unfortunately, a lot of times an agent may just say, paint it white. And then you go into Sherwin-Williams and it's like, well, which white? And there's all kinds of white is the most difficult color actually to select. But I'm going to recommend one that works with the undertones, works with their other fixed finishes. If it's a case like that, they pretty much have to paint. Plus, there's something about smelling new paint smell that if a potential buyer walks in, it immediately feels refreshed. So,
I imagine new paint smell can overcome most other lived-in smells.
Exactly.
To some degree.
To some degree, yeah. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this.
Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard.
Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles.
Tell me a story. I know you've helped a lot of people in your time.
And he had a guy that's family. He was here working in the country, but his family was still back home. And so he had bought a house. He had some roommates to help offset the expense. And but it was, I don't want to say he was bachelor because he wasn't, but since he was living here only while he's working here, he didn't invest in a lot of art, a lot of accessories. He had the basics. He had a couch, he had dishes.
Yeah.
There was a bed. One of the roommates' bed was actually on the floor. So it needed to be more warm and inviting, because the thing about staging, whether it's an occupied or a vacant home, is that, we buy on emotion and then we justify it with logic. Yeah. And so having a throw pillow or art can make a huge difference in the photo and how it feels, and helps people emotionally connect and start seeing themselves there. So there was no dining table, which is important because every room needs an identity. If you look online and you can't tell what room that is, it's just a big vacant space, then it doesn't connect, and people keep on scrolling. So anyway, I was hired to do a consultation first. That's where all my services start, and recommended a few changes that he needed to make, a few things that needed to be packed away. And then I brought in what I've referred to as staging enhancements and photo prep, and brought in art, accessories. The bedroom that had the bed sitting on the floor, we made it a proper bedroom. We bring in nice new fluffy white pillows, nice new fresh bedding, a lot of artwork, a dining table, so that now somebody comes in and they see how many people they can seat. And that one sold in 6 days. And that's a big deal. I mean, when I think the latest statistic I saw for Collin County is that homes are on the market for average 105 days, then the right edits, the right enhancements can make a huge difference.
Well, in your industry, you must have access to statistics
Yes.
that speak to, you're going to sell for more,
Mhm.
you're going to sell faster.
Yeah.
What is kind of the over-under on that? Are there numbers you can apply to that, or at least percentages,
Uh,
by hiring someone like yourself?
and they evolve. And some of the national
seasonal
ones.
too, sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can say, like, people that will invest, I like to be careful about
yeah.
ever promising that you're going to
course.
sell faster and sell for more money.
Every property's different.
But on the average, people that will invest like 1.3% into staging, they stand to make about 7.1% more than had they done nothing.
A little effort goes a long way.
Yeah. So it's a huge return on investment. It's, as a designer, so I'm an architect as well. So I love good design, but what I love about staging is that, it's strategic, and it helps people move on with their life and get to where they want to go. And that's huge if you're coming alongside someone at a very stressful time. Nobody likes to move. And sometimes it's for good reasons and sometimes not so good reasons.
Sure. So it can be an emotional time for
Yep,
sure.
yep.
Interesting. What do you enjoy most about what you do?
Well, I love seeing the transformation. I mean, like, as a designer, I do love seeing how the before and after. But I think for me, what really hits home is, what are the people able to do because they sold their house, because they made money on their house? And it gets personal for me. So I'll give you an example. Both my parents died within 6 weeks of each other back in 2020. And we were, my brothers and I didn't live in town. One brother did. And so we had to decide what to do with the house, and we were going to sell the house. And we had to do the estate sale. Like most people with aging parents, we did the estate sale, and we got rid of just about everything. There wasn't really a lot of furniture left in the house. And so I did just some light staging, and the house sold. Well, I was walking out the door after it staged because there was going to be an open house, and there was a couple coming in. They wanted to see it before the open house, and they put a contract in within a couple hours. It sold the same day. But the moral of the story was, and they made a full price offer. But I have an older brother, and he was put in a position where him and his new wife were suddenly faced with raising 3 grandkids, and they were living in a 900 square foot house. So the proceeds of that sale, now they're able to buy a bigger house. I had a family member that needed some medical help. And so with the proceeds, we were able to take care of that. My other brother, who lived in town, the last transaction that my mom did, she was a realtor, was his house, and the pool needed work. And so now the family has a place. We all have a place to meet anyway. So it's why do people need to make money on their house? It's because they need to have what's their next chapter?
Right.
What are they able to do with it? That's the rewarding part of it.
Yeah, moving is moving on.
It is.
Yeah,
it
fantastic.
is.
Really
And it's emotional no matter what the reason.
Right. Wonderful. Interesting. What's the best way to reach you?
I'm kind of old school.
That's okay.
I
Yeah.
just like a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
972-372-4711.
Excellent.
Yeah. Or they can DM me I'm on Instagram. I'm on social, so they can DM me or send me an email.
Okay.
Kelly at Kelly Burris Design.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And for those watching or listening, just scroll down. All that information's in the show notes. So it's definitely there. Parting thoughts for someone who's, if they've listened to the whole show, hopefully they're not on the fence
Yeah.
on hiring someone like yourself. But for people who are, should I or shouldn't I?
I would say if they're a seller, there's a lot of noise about what you need to do to get your home ready. And you can go online, you can Google, and you can get some basic information. But the issue becomes, do you really understand the buyer psychology of what do they need? What are they going to be looking for? And so call a stager first, because you may think that you need to invest a whole lot of money into renovating your kitchen or renovating your bathroom, and that is expensive. When a good stager may be able to say, how about we just update some lighting? Let's update the hardware, or maybe it is paint. And now you've just saved a ton of money. So that, bit that you invest in hiring a stager is going to save you a ton of money and make you money, and hopefully sell your home quicker. If it's an agent, I always say, your listing photos say as much about you and your brand as the house itself. And so if you want to win more listings and grow, having a stager come in is one of the best things you can do. They can become your marketing partner, because your photos are going to look better, and that's going to reflect better on you. And it's just a way that you're going to serve your clients at the highest level. Not to mention, and this is kind of a tough talk, but agents have a fiduciary responsibility to their clients. And so if they're putting marketing photos out there that just don't show the home very well, are you really fulfilling that duty? So and like a staging consultation is just one of the most affordable and high impact things you can do for your clients, or whether you're the seller or the client. So,
Terrific.
Yeah.
Wow.
Call in a stager early.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
Yeah. Do it often. Do it early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make more money for yourself or your clients. Well, Kelly, I appreciate you coming in and just sharing all that knowledge with us today.
Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.